So Anne drove 320 miles using 12 gallons of gas. Okay, how many gallons would she need to, how many gallons of gas would she need to drive 296 miles? Great. So this is what something is, this setup is something that we would consider a proportion. So proportion, sorry. So here a proportion is, I'm comparing two things, right? But it's the same car, the same person driving the car. So the first scenario, so I'm going to create a proportion. So proportion again is a fraction equal to another fraction. So I'm going to be comparing two things that are proportional to each other because it's the same car using that therefore uses the same amount of mileage per gallons per mile. So the first scenario, so here's the first scenario, is proportional to the second scenario. So the first scenario is that she drove 320 miles and 320 miles and she used 12 gallons. I'm going to write it as a fraction. So in 320 miles, she drove, and for 320 miles, she used 12 gallons of gas. This is equal then to how many gallons. So here, we want to know how many gallons. I'm going to put X because the bottom part has gallons, right? So the denominator here is gallons, and the numerator here is miles. You could have flipped it around as well. It doesn't matter the order, just as long as the miles are always on top or the gallons are always on the bottom, or vice versa, gallons are always on top and miles are always on the bottom. So it doesn't matter where you put which as long as you keep it consistent. So the numerator is the miles. So here, how many gallons? I call that X. How many gallons? I call that X to drive 296 miles. Right? So this is called a proportion that compares two different scenarios in which the car uses the same mileage, right? The same miles per gallon. So that's why it's equal to each other. So here, I see it's a fraction equal to a fraction. So I'm gonna make my life easier and I'm gonna use proportions to solve this. Meaning I'm just gonna cross multiply. Instead of having to do the LCD or whatnot, since it's a fraction equal to a fraction, I can cross multiply. So proportions, you can cross multiply. So when I cross multiply, 320 times X gives me 320X is equal to, if you have a calculator, I don't have one on hand. I don't even know where my phone is. 296 times 12. Anyone have a calculator? What's 296 times 12?
I got 3552.
3552, like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Great, thank you, Marco. So 320X is equal to 3552. I'm gonna divide both sides by 320. So when you divide both sides by 320, what do you end up getting for X?
11.1.
11.1, right? And it's 11.1 what?
Gallons.
Gallons? Yeah, gallons, right? So here to drive to drive 296 miles, she's going to be using 11.1 gallons. And let me just double check this on number 27 in the back. Was that right?
Yeah, 27.
Okay, perfect. 11.1 gallons. Perfect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense now.
Great, great. Anyone else have any other questions? I probably have time